Hi, in this session I'm going to show you how to start the development of your WordPress custom theme. There are a few things that we have to do for WordPress to even recognize that we've started a new theme. So we're going to go ahead and open the admin here, and you'll notice in themes that we only have the FCD template that we've migrated over from the previous tutorial. But we're going to go ahead and make a new one using some of the components from that. So right now, I just pulled in like an index HTML. There's really nothing on it, but it's just pulled in from like a basic standard website template that I've set up for my studio. So it's just an index.html linked with a CSS and Sass file, an assets folder, and then a main.js. So let's go back over here. So what we really want though is to go back to the FCD template, which I'll give everybody access to, and take a few components from this that we want to use here. So the first thing we want to do is take the functions in style documents and bring them over here. And we're going to, actually I have this open in Atom, I believe. We'll close this out. Alright, so we'll take tutorial, drag it here so that it opens up in Atom. And the first thing we want to do is change the style.css. So you'll see it says FCD template. You see that also down here. So theme name and text domain. We're going to go ahead and change both of those, and we're going to do tutorial. So tutorial theme. And then down here, we don't want any spaces, hyphens, underscores, anything. Because it's going to go into the functions.php, and that's our next step. This is the same functions file that I use for almost all web projects that I do. And the functions, what it does is pulls in all of WordPress, just customary items. So this is pretty universal. I don't really change this. Below, though, we see that we load in our CSS, so style.css, which is always set up the same in my templates. I have just a template directory that we use that it's always within a CSS folder, and then style.css, so that's always the same throughout all of our projects. I have Lightbox, we use that fairly often, and then I have an Adobe Typekit link to this. That we're gonna leave it for right now, but I recommend you can change that. So if you have custom fonts for your theme, you can go ahead and put your own in there to call into your CSS. And also I want to bring up that this essentially is just replacing your head tag. I mean, you'll still use it for certain things, but this, you'll no longer call your CSS and JavaScript files in through the head of your document. And I'll explain that here shortly. But our first step inside of functions.php, we're going to go ahead and find the FCD template. Anywhere that we see that in here, declaring that to be the directory, we're going to go ahead and change that with tutorial theme. So you can just click replace all. And so now we have tutorial theme anywhere the FCD used to be. And since that's the domain, like the, text domain, it needs to match like universally. So that's very important. All right. And so the next step is we're going to go ahead and duplicate index.html, but make it a PHP file. And the next thing we want to do is create a new file called header.php, and then another one called footer.php. And we're going to go ahead and take the header, or the head of the document. Actually, we'll go ahead and take all the way down to the body, because that's a universal component for the website. We're going to go ahead and put that in the header.php document, and before the body, we're going to go ahead and put in a PHP function, and that is going to be WP underscore header. I apologize, it's actually WP head, not WP header. And then in the footer, we're going to take everything from the... Oh, you know what? I actually took this from the HTML. This is a good lesson for us. We're going to go ahead and close that out. But all I need to do is delete it here because it's exactly the same as in the PHP so far. But we're going to take all this because it's universal. Close the body tag, close the HTML tag. I'm going to save this and move over to the footer. Put this in. And before you close the body, we're going to do PHP WP underscore footer. And that pulls in WordPress's footer. And the next thing we need to do after that. So we no longer need this Bootstrap CSS. That can go away. And we also don't need this CSS. So we're good on both of those. We'll replace the JavaScript directory shortly. But that one I'm not too worried about yet. You'll notice here, we just have an H1 tag, so that's the only thing custom to this page. The other things so far, header and footer, they're universal components. So anytime you make an edit to header.php, that is universally applied to every page on your website now. You're essentially just breaking your HTML document into segments. It's actually really convenient when you get used to it. So let's go back to that index.php. And we actually, we have to call those components in, so it doesn't just know to add that to every one. So we're going to open up a PHP tag and do a function in here, which is get underscore header. And then we're going to do another one below, get underscore footer. And now all these components are linked together. So like, let's say, for example, we would never actually do this, but just to show you how it works, we're going to go ahead and copy the H1 into the header here, just under the body tag. And it'll actually show up on all pages. But first, for that to even really work, we need to go into our WordPress now. We're going to refresh this, and you'll see tutorial theme. So we'll go ahead and activate it. You see hello world. That's coming from this H1 that's actually in the header. So if we put a, let's go ahead and put a P tag down here. We'll just say hello. It's calling it in right above that. You won't see any difference though if we remove that and put it right here. Because really nothing changed. All it is kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So all these just go in the same order. when this comes in handy really well is you actually put the header to your document in here. So when you do that, anytime you change the header, for example, you know, if they want to change some kind of universal component such as their logo or something that is like highly visible on the site all the time, you don't have to go through 20 different HTML documents and replace the IMG tag or whatever. You just do it once, and that's gonna apply it to all the pages. So it saves a lot of time in the long run. And it also just kind of helps keep your code kind of clean and concise. It's way easier to navigate when you don't have to put the header and footer and opening tags for the HTML and the body and all that just like in your working document. You can kind of like set them off to the side and only deal with them when you really have to. And that is how you set up your WordPress custom theme. You can see it's pulled in here. And I'll show you how to actually access that directory and use more components in the next tutorial.